and Mrs. Anita Blas, Mr. Kevin Gosper, the Vice President of the International Olympic Committee. May I also recognize the presence of former presidents of the South Pacific Games Council, Roger Cadeau, New Caledonia, Claude Fournier, New Caledonia, and Sir John Dawanukura, Papua New Guinea. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, athletes and officials of the South Pacific Games, Nisambula, Namaste, welcome and bienvenue to all of you. You look terrific there tonight. We're especially pleased to welcome you all here again to Suva, the venue of the inaugural South Pacific Games held here in 1963 and the 6th South Pacific Games in 1979. The South Pacific Games is the biggest gathering of people from the Pacific Islands region and is an event which has been held regularly for the past 40 years since its inauguration in 1963. Over this time, the standard of competition and the facilities made available to athletes continue to improve, and we look forward to a fortnight of intense competition beginning in 2 days' time. In the organization of these games, we have adopted as our mission statement to deliver to the peoples of the Pacific the most harmonious, athlete-focused, and culturally enhancing South Pacific Games, reflecting the Pacific at its best. We are focusing on you, the best athletes of the region, and hope that you will enjoy the facilities that we can provide within our means to ensure that the target and the dreams that you had set for yourself for the Suva Games are achieved. I would like at this juncture to say a big thank you and Vinawa Levu to the government of Fiji and the governments that have served us since we won the bid in 1997, for the support offered to us as an organizing committee. I would also like to record our appreciation to the government of the People's Republic of China for the magnificent facilities built for the Games. The new venues will ensure that the athletes competing in the 2003 South Pacific Games will compete in world-class facilities, and that sports development in Fiji and in the region will continue to grow in strength in the future. My gratitude goes as well to our other stakeholders, in particular the host city and the Lord Mayor, Councillor Chandu Maria and his council, the Fiji Sports Council and the National Sporting Federations and FASANOC, to the major sponsors of the South Pacific Games, the official suppliers, the nominated providers, and all of you in the business community that helped us to stage these games. And to the many, many volunteers who have worked long hours over the past few months to get us where we are today. I would also like to recognize the presence here in the audience of Dr. Sahu Khan, formerly of Fiji and now resident in Australia, who at the South Pacific Conference meeting in Papua New Guinea in 1962 proposed the idea for the staging of the South Pacific Games. Finally, to all the visiting athletes and officials, I hope you enjoy your short stay here in Fiji. Best wishes to all of you for a successful competition conducted in the spirit of true sportsmanship and fair play. Good luck to you all.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Rick Blas, President of the SPG Council.
Chers invités, mesdames, mesdemoiselles, messieurs, Monsieur Rick Blas, Président du Conseil des Jeux du Pacifique Sud.
President of the South Pacific Games Council and Federation.
Nisa Sanbula, Namaste, and Hapaday. Good evening and welcome to the 2003 Suva South Pacific Games. President Ratu Josefa Iloilo and Lady Iloilo, the Prime Minister Lysania Garase and Mrs. Garase, Chiefs of Fiji, Member of Parliament, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the International Olympic Committee, President Kevin Gosper, Secretary General Dr. Robin Mitchell, delegates from the 22 island nations, officials, coaches, athletes, ladies and gentlemen. This evening, we are here to celebrate the ceremonies, but also to recognize the development of the South Pacific Games history. I read in the Island Magazine article that Dr. A.H. Sahu Khan at the 1959 South Pacific Conference in Papua New Guinea recommended an inter-territory sports tournament to assist in overcoming insularity in the Pacific. Fiji was sponsor of the first game in 1963. The significance of that meeting memorialized the work of individuals like Dr. Khan and his colleagues, Mr. Semesas Sikovu and Mr. Pierre Isamatro, an idea conceptualized before I was born. Now, for the third time back in Fiji, the historical significance of the Games, 40-year history, is bringing together the founders of the 1959 vision and new athletes and delegates who are continuing to benefit from the vision, along with the people of Fiji, the 22 island nation delegates of who are here today. When I handed the Games flag to Fiji to Dr. Robin Mitchell, chairman of the South Pacific Games Organizing Committee, at our closing ceremonies in 1999 in Guam, it promised that your games would be played in the state-of-art facilities to witness your multi-purpose hall, aquatic center, hockey, and baseball field. As I have seen your new sports facilities in the past few days, I am reminded of a comment in anticipation of its construction, that Guam would be hard-pressed to beat your facility. And you certainly have accomplished that, haven't you? Now, we too from Guam can compete in your state-of-the-art facilities and great accommodations for our athletes and look forward to the best ever in the Games in the Council's history. The Games motto, Pacific at its best, is called, in our terms, call to arms. The success of these Games has been dependent on government support, your sports administrators, the Olympic Committee, and national federations, as well as the people of the host country. Dr. Mitchell, 4 years ago, you left Guam with the Games flag. Since then, you've influenced and motivated the people of Fiji and the greater Suva to form this great team of sports administrators in preparation for this evening event. Your patience will be tested in the next 15 days, and if I know you, your nature is to rise above challenges, and your leadership will drive this game to its ultimate success. And before I finish off, planning of the Games, as I've had experience, relies a lot on a commitment that is always somewhat put in the back burners of our plans. And I would like to recognize the many contributions of Dr. Mitchell through his wife, Mrs. Rosemary Mitchell. As a native speaker of Chamorro, our local language, Bula means full or complete. Complete success to all the athletes. Bula Guam and Bula Fiji.
Ricardo Blas, President of the South Pacific Games Federation, throwing down the challenge to Fiji. Can it produce the best games ever? We're going to find out. We're at the opening ceremony of the South Pacific Games, the 40th anniversary.
His Excellency,
and now we're moving up to the point at which the Games is going to be formally opened by Fiji's head of state, our President, Dr. Josefa Iloilo. And great symmetry here, because not only is he the President of Fiji, but he's also the Tuivunda, and his chiefly village of Visese was the point in Fiji where, according to tradition, the first Fijians arrived, and in honor of that, that was where the Games torch was lit back on May the 20th before it began its procession around Fiji. So now the head of state of Fiji, Ratu Josefa Iloilo, will open the 12th edition of the South Pacific Games.
My brothers and sisters, these games were born 40 years ago. Our leaders then in the South Pacific Commission had a vision that sports could be used to bring our different peoples and countries together. They were right. Successive games have proven that whilst there is always fierce competition, a common feeling of oneness as Pacific Island peoples has also developed. The world has the Olympics. We have our South Pacific Games. It is this feeling of oneness as a Pacific Island community that I see in the teams that have assembled here for this 12th South Pacific Games. The best of our athletes have come from places near and afar. Their minds and bodies are ready for action. Their hearts are set on the ultimate prize of a gold medal. They have received the blessings of their people, and on their strong shoulders rest the hopes and dreams of their countries. May these games in the days ahead, they will write the next chapter in the proud story of the South Pacific Games. I say to them, be the best you can for yourselves, for your families, and for people, and for your countries. Be faithful to the ideals of the Games. Remember their purpose. You are all children of the unique and marvelous family of the South Pacific. May these games strengthen our bonds of friendships. Let them bring us together, even as we compete in the renewed spirit of pride and mutual goodwill as Pacific Island peoples. Now, on behalf of the people of Fiji and on behalf of the community of Pacific Island nations, it is my honor and pleasure to declare the 2003 South Pacific Games. Thank you.
The opening ceremony of the 12th South Pacific Games, and now with the formalities all but done,
His Excellency
it's time for all of us to enjoy the cultural and performance component of this night of nights here in Suva.
And whilst our athletes and officials take their seats for the cultural presentation, please enjoy some of the best of Pacific music.
Nous terminons ici notre programme officiel de la cérémonie d'ouverture. Pendant que nos athlètes et officiels prennent place pour la présentation culturelle, oui, appréciez le meilleur de la musique du Pacifique.
We request all countries, to your left is the allocated seating area for all athletes, and marshals of the Fiji Sports Council will guide you accordingly. Once again, we call on the marshals of the stadium area to please marshal the athletes towards their seating area just to the left or behind the left of the arena. Thank you.
Across Fiji, around the region, you're watching live pictures of the South Pacific Games opening ceremony and a little impromptu action here as we wait for the more formal component of the entertainment to begin tonight. But Charles, everybody seems to be enjoying themselves. It's party time in Suva, Fiji. We're celebrating the 40th anniversary of the first ever South Pacific Games.
Certainly the President of Fiji, His Excellency Rata Josefa, has formally opened the Games. And if that was the formal component of the Games, you get a sense now that everybody in this packed auditorium is sort of loosening their tie, if they were wearing a tie, kicking off their shoes and really getting into the spirit of the occasion. We're sort of halfway through the program. We've seen the athletes come past, the opening of the Games has taken place, and now what we've got to look forward to over the next couple of hours is the cultural program. And I just can't tell you how the crowd is reacting to this lady. Everybody in the Pacific, as we know, loves a spectacle. They love nothing more to gawp and stare, and this sight is really exactly what they've come to see.
Well, they're promising the Pacific at its best, and looks like we're going to get it, and certainly we're into the entertainment component right now. And they're cranking up the volume here on the PA system as well. It's going to really rip here in Suva tonight, and there are a few people out for a big party. Got the athletes now being invited just to leave the main central arena so they can just make a little bit of space out here. Certainly enjoying the music, and they're ramping it up big time here in Suva.
Just how spontaneous this is, because certainly the directions that the athletes are getting are to move to the far side of the pitch, the embankment. They started off in that direction with this wonderful spontaneous dance just near the finish line. The track here at the National Stadium has brought them all back. And absolutely magnetise them.
And if there's dancing to be done in the Pacific, I can tell you what, the cooks are never too far away, and I think we've got one of the Cook Island netballers there right in the midst of it as well now. The Volusians have got back into it. Well, I don't know what they're going to do about this, because theoretically we should be having the entertainment section now, but I think everybody's out to enjoy themselves and set their own entertainment. The Volusians are back, Charlie, and they're out here in Suva.
Well, certainly if you were one of those conservative section managers, you'd be hoping that none of your athletes were in there expending valuable energy in this frivolous display of regional passion, dancing away like this. They should be conserving their energy for the big sports events, but somehow that's not the point. That's not the point of the opening ceremony. It's not why we're all here to enjoy the spectacle of the games.
Pictures coming to you live from the National Stadium here in Suva in Fiji, and wherever you might be watching these pictures tonight, it's a very warm welcome on behalf of all of us here. Games Organising Committee has worked extremely hard to get us to this position whereby we can bring you these pictures, and we're absolutely delighted and honoured to be here with you this evening.
Talking about that and the work the South Pacific Games Organising Committee has done, it's probably gives us an opportunity to talk about the many hats of Dr. Robin Mitchell, who heads the organising committee here. He's also the Secretary General of the Oceania National Olympic Committee, the President of the NOC here in Fiji, Farsanov, and he's an IOC member, and not an IOC member who turns up infrequently, but he's actively engaged, particularly on the medical commission side of things, and he still maintains his general practitionership here in Suva. He really has, and his team as well, committed a tremendous amount of their time and energy into bringing off this games, in many respects against too many obstacles to name. But here we are on day one of the South Pacific Games, enjoying this wonderful event. Everything that Dr. Mitchell and his team have promised, he's delivered, and so much more.
Well, just picking up the point you're making earlier on, Charlie, I guess team managers and section managers will be probably pretty happy that we've got a day of rest tomorrow. Everybody can dry off a little bit and get set for competition, which of course gets underway bright and early on Monday morning. In fact, we're probably going to have a few medals decided by this time Monday night, and that all-important medal tally will be very much in our minds. But I think there are a couple of pictures here that are going to be making the back pages across the Pacific. Some wonderful photo opportunities. Live pictures coming to you from the National Stadium in Suva. Great to have your company this evening, and we will be back with a whole lot more very, very soon.
Once again, we request all athletes to make their way to the embankment that has been provided for you, a seating area that has been provided for you. Thank you. Those of you who are walking in front of yourselves towards the, in front of everyone, your area is the vacant or almost vacant embankment that has been allocated for the athletes. Thank you. Those of you at the entrance of the stadium, we ask you to please move towards the allocated seating area as we will commence our first item for the entertainment from that area. We also request members of the police to remove their instruments for the entry of our contingent from Matavatuto. We ask all Fiji athletes if you can marshal yourselves to one area as there is a special program that will be presented to you by the students of St. Joseph.
This is the opening ceremony of the 12th South Pacific Games, and about 45 minutes ago, organisers invited the athletes to take their position on one of the embankments overlooking this wonderful facility here at the National Stadium. Slowly they've done that. We've seen a series of impromptu dances and get-togethers out in the Pacific Way. Party time here. But Charlie, been a big night, and now I guess we're getting set for this multimedia entertainment component.
And obviously the best kept secret in Fiji, and it really has been the best kept secret in Fiji, is who is going to be the person who will light the game's cauldron. I've tried every single devise, every single ruse to try and crack the secret, but everybody's been very tight-lipped. They really are building up the sense of expectation. We've had a helicopter buzzing around behind us. It actually landed in one of the soccer pitches, and I'm just wondering if the helicopter has got anything to do with the person who's going to be lighting that cauldron.
Yes, the ceremonial games flag is fluttering away to our left. A little bit of a breeze blowing across the National Stadium at the moment. A few drops of rain back out again. But I just wonder what other dramas are going to unfold here, Charlie, as we look toward competition here, because the National Stadium, of course, will be hosting a number of sports over the next couple of weeks or so. In particular, of course, the highlight will be track and field week after next, week 2 of competition. And I'm sure there are going to be some mighty stories told about this particular time.
It was interesting, the point that you were talking to earlier when Tahiti came through, about the sense that you get that Tahiti is slightly ebbing away in terms of its traditional supremacy within the South Pacific Games.